the feeding of the 5,000, it's a story about God's abundance, and to use us as a part of that story, as a part of the means by which God meets need.
I'm reminded every time I feel that chaos in my life that God is like, wait, A, I can calm the chaos, but B, if I don't calm the chaos, I'm your calm in the chaos.
Jesus is like, no, you stay here and tell these people, because that's what they're gonna see. That's when they're gonna see me, when they see you for who you are now.
This spot right here is the crux of our faith. Did he rise again? And if he did, watch out.
You know, miracles are living proof that Jesus came to give us a salvation and forgiveness, which is amazing, but then he goes above and beyond with the lavishness of healing and miracles for those that just had the faith to ask for it. And so the question I want to ask, what miracles are we asking God for now?
This is a study about believing in the power of God who can accomplish anything and loves and cares about every individual. There's nothing too big and there's nothing too small for us to bring to God.
And I love how he walks on the very water that the disciples are afraid of. But he takes it another level and he invites us to be a part of that power by simply saying, come.
The man is able to observe other people that somehow were able to be carried down to this pool and be healed. And you may be looking at your life saying, it seems like everyone else is being carried to the place they need to be. But don't let comparison kill what Jesus has for you.
The resurrection means that when you fall down, you can get back up. When you sin, his resurrection will be your forgiveness. When you are lost, his resurrection reminds you that you are not alone. His resurrection is a reminder that we are worth dying for. Therefore, Jesus is worth living for.
Now, I don't know whether you're coming into the study with huge aches and hurts and weaknesses, and they seem so big that you can't imagine that God could heal them, or if you're on the other side of that spectrum and you have aches and weaknesses and hurts so small that you wonder if God could even see them. But either way, right now, I want you to ask, would God open your heart and say, God, meet me right where I am? Because he will.
For almost 20 years, I've been searching for evidence of one of the greatest miracles of the entire Bible, the miraculous parting of the Red Sea.
Tim, the first question most people ask is, where's Mount Sinai? My first question as a geographer is, where was the sea that was parted and crossed?
So what do you think the crossing site, where would that be?
Well, for once, I'm going to follow the conventional argument here.
When I look at the Exodus story through the eyes of a scientist, then it contains a lot of observations which just make sense to modern science.
I think it is possible to demonstrate that it took place in close proximity to Egypt.
I know that some people would say, well, there were probably 5,000, maybe 20,000 Israelites.
This matter of large numbers is a very, very thorny issue.
There has to be enough Israelites in order to make Pharaoh and the rest of Egypt scared.
Whether the 10 plagues happened is a miracle. Whether the Red Sea parted is a miracle. Archaeology cannot prove or disprove a miracle.
Make the sea small, put it close to Egypt, all of a sudden it calls into question the biblical text itself.
And you cast their pursuers into the depths as a stone into mighty waters.
Where were these ancient lakes and what is now all desert?
And what sort of people could stand the strength of the wind that would part that depth of water? Nobody could stand and walk that land bridge in that sort of wind. It would be impossible.
Why is it important to think about these things?
At the end of the day, we're really talking about a miraculous event of unprecedented proportion, of God's miraculous saving power.
If there's one thing that most of us who are professed believers of Jesus Christ share in common, it's this idea that we feel the tension between a commandment to share our faith and then the reality of our fears. Fears of rejection, fears of not knowing how to answer their questions. Well, here's what I want to share with you. This course will not necessarily eliminate all your fears, but it will certainly give you the confidence to face them. Everybody needs sort of an approach when it comes to being a life witness in this world that we live in. And I really believe that we overcomplicate this thing we call evangelism with so many different methods, so many different approaches. And really, when you look at the scripture, what's so satisfying is they just went and gave away their story. And what this course will do is it will teach you that you have a story worth giving away. And I put this story, or I tuck it into an approach called REACH. And I think it's a very simple approach for everybody to remember. It's an acrostic that stands for rely on God through prayer, equipping yourself to defend the faith, accepting responsibility to build relationships, clearly sharing your story, and then help connecting your non-believing friends to the local church. We will unpack that acrostic, and it will be immensely practical, and I believe it can be unbelievably life-changing for you to go through this course.